Hey fam, I want you to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications. After a 2-day debate, Florida's House of Representatives, they have passed a bill that will permit teachers to carry guns in the classroom. It's already been approved by the Senate, and Governor Ron DeSantis signed it on Wednesday. All teachers are eligible to have a gun, even if they have a non-classroom role. Folks are saying this is one of the stupidest ideas. This is Donald Trump's way of saying that teachers should be able to defend themselves in the case of school shootings. Of course, he threw this idea out there. The NRA loved the idea, but State Representative Chevron Jones, a Democrat out of Florida, says it's pretty much an idiotic idea. Jones is right now on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Representative Jones, again, what was the logic of Republicans in the Florida legislature who thought that this somehow was a good idea?
Good evening, Roland. It's good to be back on the show once again. But I don't know what the logic was behind it, considering the fact that last year, when the legislation was proposed, it was only proposed as an idea for non-instructional staff to carry weapons. And there was an option for districts to buy into it. This year, they moved and said that they want to allow teachers to be able to do it. Now, but mind you, there's no logic behind it. Donald Trump made it clear that this is something that was a good idea. Betsy DeVos said that this is something that was a good idea. But the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Commission last year said that it was a bad idea. And then this year, they changed the idea of it when the chair of the committee, who is the chair of the Sheriff's Association, said that it was a good idea. But he had to convince the commission that it was a good idea. But Fred Gittenberg, who lost his daughter in Parkland, still opposed it on the committee to say that this wasn't a good idea to do it. And so this is the direction that they've gone in. Governor DeSantis has signed the bill as of yesterday, and here we are.
All right, so what are the parameters? Are teachers literally allowed to have a gun holstered on their body walking around a classroom?
So the first thing is that it's an option for the districts to actually sign into. That's one. But the second thing is we asked the question. There was a series of questions that came forth on the floor. The question was, does the gun have to be in a box? The bill sponsor's response was, it's up to the district. We did ask the question, well, does what happens when the teacher needs to go out and to apprehend the active shooter? Does he or she leave the students and go out to apprehend the active shooter, or do she stay in the classroom? Her response was, it's up to the student. They gave no clear rules, no clear parameters of anything. Everything that they gave was, it's up to the district, allow the districts to create what the parameters look like with House Bill 7093.
So you could literally have all kinds of different rules where one district could say teachers can walk around in guns. Another one could say, hey, it has to be in a locked box. Another one could say that it could be on a shelf. That's sort of like idiotic that you would pass such a law and then just say, hey, districts, up to you. Now, here's the other deal. Yeah. Could the districts also say no guns?
Yes. So so you have like Broward County and Miami-Dade County. Those districts have said that they're not allowing teachers that have guns. They have given options. But Roland, but I would have everyone to know this, that they have tied the dollars of whether or not you join into the Guardian program with whether you get school safety dollars. And that's what their plan was for last year. So the plan was either you sign into this deal of this option of the Guardian program, or you don't get any school safety dollars. And so it's a lose-lose situation that has come about within the state of Florida. And we fought like hell. I kid you not. The Democrats fought like hell. And I commend my colleagues for how we did on the floor to ask all the questions to let them see that what you're proposing is not only dangerous, it's a dangerous experiment.
All right, Representative Jones, we appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
All right, folks, so let's go to our panel here. Joining us in studio is Malik Abdul, Vice President, Black Conservative Federation. We have, of course, Dr. Greg Carr, Chair, Department of Afro-American Studies, Howard University, and Dr. Cleo Monago, Socio-Political Analyst and Activist. Malik, you're Republican. Good idea, bad idea?
Well, I think I'm not totally opposed to it. What concerned me is the inconsistency in how, and what you discussed as far as the parameters of it. I think that it's a good idea to have districts be able to decide, some of those things, but I can't imagine any district. It was good to hear, for instance, like Miami-Dade County, Broward County, they opted out of it, but then the other problem is, of course, as the representative said, is that being tied to dollars.
So you think it's fine that teachers should be armed in classrooms?
Yeah, as someone who supports the Second Amendment, I do, and probably most of us do, I don't have the same view of people with guns. Like I know members of my family, I know grew up with concealed carry, even in my community. So I'm not afraid of the idea that a gun may be in a place, any specific place, and I do believe that most gun owners are definitely responsible.
Yeah, but here's the deal, though, Greg. Bottom line is, look, you're a professor. I've been an adjunct professor. I can't think about walking around a classroom with a gun on my hip. What happens if that gun discharges? Even if, okay, folks, the odds of that being low, we have numerous stories where those things have actually happened. And so then how do you explain that to a family of a child gets shot or killed accidentally because a gun goes off in a classroom?
You don't. In fact, one of the things the legislature would not include was a Democratic amendment to have some training about bias. I mean, teachers are just as racist as anyone else.
That's right.
But I mean, there are two separate issues here, I think. One, of course, is the gun issue, and there's no legitimate intellectual defense for the Second Amendment historically. It was passed at a time in this nation's history when they didn't have an army. It was about a wartime militia. It had nothing to do with this foolishness we're talking about now. So on the substantive issue, it is really indefensible. But the other issue is the slice and dice nature of this extreme right-wing white nationalist movement in the GOP to try to remake the electoral map. Of course, you've got two illegitimate governors, one in Florida, DeSantis, and the other in Georgia, Kemp, passing these extremely divisive things, this heartbeat bill, and now this gun legislation. And there are 8 other states that allow non-security personnel to allow guns in school by school employees. But more importantly, by leaving it to the districts, what you're doing is trying to slice and dice up Florida. The district that Marjorie Douglas is in said they're not going to allow it, but then the next door district may allow it. What are you trying to do? You're trying to dismantle any notion of a cohesive state logic in advance of these continuing campaigns to retain GOP control at the state level.
Cleo.
Well, my concern is who's going to protect the children. Because, for example, all these people who get to have guns tend to be shooting at black boys and black men. I'm concerned about that. I also want to ask the brother who was just on if there are going to be background checks for teachers who get to have these guns. Because there are some kind of background checks, but not necessarily around having guns. So that's going to be part of this legislation. And I was wondering, another concern is that guns have a impact on black boys in terms of a stress. It increases stress. It increases anxiety, which can impact the capacity to sustain learning and concentrate in class. Some of these accusations around black men's or black boys' capacity to concentrate and study in classrooms has to do with unresolved or unaddressed trauma by living in society and not having any clear analysis of where they live, and they just are confused, and it impacts their capacity to focus. Plus, the curriculum doesn't affirm them. So you're going to do that with guns? I'm real concerned about this mix.
The job of a teacher, you're trying to educate.
Yeah.
And so now part of your deal is literally, I got a gun in the classroom?
Yeah, I don't think.
What happens? Let's take it further. What happens if there's a teacher, if a district allows for teachers to actually walk around with a gun on their hip? What happens if a teacher gets attacked by a student and they get control of the gun?
Yeah, I wouldn't be supportive of that at all.
What?
Of the idea of them actually open carry in a school. I wouldn't be supportive of that at all.
But here's the point though. If the whole point is there's a school shooting, you want teachers to be armed. If the gun is locked up in a box, let's say on the shelf, a shooting takes place in the classroom, they can't get to the box.
Well, not particularly. If we're talking about something like concealed carry, you don't have to worry about the gun actually being exposed. But I do think that we should be careful when talking about actually teachers, because we shouldn't assume that teachers are, so unstable and you meet the instability of a teacher versus along with the idea of them being a responsible
Roland,
donor. I don't think
there are
they
studies
become
that
irresponsible.
prove.
But I'm trying to understand why. Because you already have high concentrations of black kids being suspended. If you have
That's what I was
example,
getting ready to
if
mention.
you have example of the black girl in South Carolina when the resource officer came in and body
Exactly.
slammed her in the
Right.
desk. Again, you don't know. I mean, I can show you some other videos where teachers have gone off, substitute teachers
Oh, yeah, I've
have
seen
gone
it.
off on students. Things can escalate very quickly.
Absolutely.
You now are putting a gun
That's right.
in a classroom. You don't know what happens. What you do know right now is that knowing there's not a gun in the classroom can lead to somebody not getting shot.
Well, watch this, bro. Let's look at it this way. And like I say, you're a teacher, I'm a teacher. We classroom teachers around this country watching this. Which one of our colleagues would we want to have a pistol, a gun, a weapon, or which one of us would want that? Now, conversely, let's go to the other side. We all know who the first people are going to be to sign up for this. This is the people Dr. Minago is talking about. I don't have to body slam her anymore. I can just wear my pistol concealed carry to work. This will attract the same, absolutely.
Yeah,
the same type of people who are attracted to law enforcement, who are in the classroom, who probably should not be in the
Exactly.
classroom, going to be the first one to sign up for
Cleo, go ahead.
You kind of address what I was going to address anyway, which is that, well, I'll just go to the scientific piece. There are scientific studies that show that black children are punished excessively, overpunished, and you already mentioned the YouTube and all the videos, and I'm concerned about being overshot now by the kind of people that Dr. Carr just described. Because the same kind of people who like to have guns that accidentally shoot black adults can accidentally shoot black children.
Yeah, but I don't think we're not with
But
a
it
teacher,
happens.
though. I don't think we should make that
let me
assumption.
tell you
about,
as a teacher.
I don't think we should make that assumptions about teachers. that
Malik,
they're so
there
unstable that
is
they'll
evidence
shoot kids,
on even on
because that's what the
YouTube
assumption is.
Okay.
of law enforcement in the class and teachers in the class over punishing black
Yeah,
children.
absolutely. But
To
the
the
gun
point
is
of
to
physical
stop
abuse.
someone from shooting up the school, not to deal
But
with
it's legally sanctioned to have a gun now.
What I'm saying is
and black people are
and not,
make
not
white folks
every
feel,
not every teacher
white
is going to
people
actually
feel
carry a gun.
uncomfortable.
Right?
They feel like they feel threatened. Remember?
Cleo, final comment. Sorry, Greg, final comment.
I was going to say very quickly, the teachers I know,
crazy.
the ones who I value the most in my years working for schools in Philadelphia, working for Teaching for Change, all the K-12 teachers I know, the ones who are least likely to carry the gun are the best teachers. And the ones who most likely to carry the gun are the worst teachers, brother.
That's true. A good teacher don't need no.
No question.
All right. Well, bottom line is we'll see what happens in Florida. School districts do the right thing and say, hell no, no guns in these classrooms. Unfiltered, be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.